Urgent Cleveland Browns fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Cleveland Browns updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, Browns fans, today we've got some major news that's shaking the foundation of the franchise. It's one of those moments that makes you sit back and think about the incredible journey of a player who has become a symbol of resilience and dedication in Cleveland. We're talking about Nick Chubb, a guy who, for years, has been more than just a running back. He's been a symbol of everything great about this team. But now, it seems like the chapter on his time in Cleveland might be coming to an end, and trust me, this is a story you don't want to miss. So, what exactly happened? Well, the Browns general manager, Andrew Berry, recently sat down for an interview that pushed this story into the spotlight. And what he said? It was both honest and a little heartbreaking for the fans who've watched Chubb grow from a promising second-round pick in 2018 into one of the best, if not the best, running backs in franchise history. Berry made it very clear that the likelihood of Nick Chubb returning to Cleveland in 2025 is becoming increasingly slim. That's right, Browns fans, the era of Nick Chubb in Cleveland might be nearing its end, and it's a development that's got a lot of people talking. Now, Berry's words weren't just a casual comment. He spoke quite openly about the state of the team's roster moving forward. The Browns, as we all know, have been trying to rebuild and retool their backfield, and recent moves reflect that shift. For starters, Cleveland drafted 2 running backs in the 2025 draft, which is a clear indication of where the team's priorities are heading. They also recently renegotiated Jerome Ford's deal, signaling that they see him as a key part of their future plans. Ford, a guy who's shown flashes of brilliance, has the potential to be a cornerstone of Cleveland's rushing attack moving forward. But what about Nick Chubb? Well, Berry's comments suggest that the team is leaning towards a new direction at the running back position, especially after Chubb's recent injury setbacks. For those of you who might not be fully up to date, let's take a quick walk down memory lane. Nick Chubb, at just 29 years old, has been a fan favorite since he arrived in Cleveland. Drafted out of Georgia, he made his debut in 2018 and immediately established himself as a force. In his first few seasons, Chubb was nothing short of spectacular. He racked up over 800 rushing yards and scored 51 touchdowns in his career, becoming a cornerstone of the Browns' offense. His blend of power, vision, and consistency made him one of the truly elite running backs in the league. And he did all of this despite dealing with some injuries along the way. Now, Chubb's injury history is well known. In Week 2 of the 2023 season, he suffered a devastating knee injury that ended his year prematurely. It was a tough blow for everyone, fans, teammates, and himself. And that injury has had a lingering effect. In 2024, Chubb returned to the field, but he looked different. His production dipped significantly. He averaged just 3 yards per carry, well below his career average of 5.3 yards. He managed to rush for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns in limited action, and he caught 5 passes for 31 yards. It's clear that his health has been a concern, and that's playing a role in the team's decision-making process. But what makes this story even more compelling is the emotional side of it. Nick Chubb is not just a star, he's a leader and a beloved figure in Cleveland. His work ethic, humility, and dedication have made him a fan favorite, and he's become part of the fabric of this community. So, hearing that the Browns might be moving on from him is tough for many to accept. Andrew Berry, during that interview, acknowledged this. He said that in decision-making, he strives to be non-emotional, but he also recognizes how hard it is to part ways with someone who's meant so much to the organization and the city. Berry mentioned that he understands the difficulty in letting go of a player who has been a pillar of the franchise for years. My job in decision-making is to be non-emotional, he said, and then in terms of managing and treating people, it's to be able to do it as empathetically as possible. That's a tough line to walk, especially when it involves someone like Nick Chubb, who has given so much to Cleveland. But at the same time, the reality of NFL roster management is that change is inevitable. Teams have to evolve, and sometimes that means making unpopular decisions. And let's not forget the strategic aspects involved. The Browns are clearly looking ahead. Drafting Quinton Judkins in the second round and Dylan Sampson in the fourth this year indicates a focus on building a versatile and dynamic backfield for the future. Judkins is a talented runner with a lot of potential, and Sampson adds depth and explosiveness. Cleveland is clearly trying to establish a new identity on offense, one that can adapt to the league's evolving demands. Chubb's style of power running is fantastic, but the team is probably seeking more versatility and youth at that position to stay competitive in the long run. Of course, it's important to highlight that Chubb's impact on the field has been nothing short of extraordinary. Over his career, he's averaged over 5 yards per carry, and that kind of consistency is rare. His ability to churn out tough yards, break tackles, and deliver in clutch moments has made him one of the most respected players in the league. In 2024, despite the setbacks, he still managed to run hard and show flashes of his old self, but the injuries have taken a toll. And it's understandable why the team is now looking to the future. But I want to emphasize something: the emotional side of this story. Losing a player like Nick Chubb isn't just about stats or roster management. It's about the connection he's built with the city, with the fans, and with his teammates. Chubb's humility and work ethic have made him a role model, and when a player like that leaves, it leaves a void that's hard to fill. The Browns are a team that's trying to climb back to respectability, and part of that journey involves tough decisions like these. Now, let's talk about what's next for Cleveland. The draft picks this year show that the team is serious about retooling the backfield and preparing for a future without Chubb. Judkins and Sampson are young, hungry, and ready to make their mark. But that doesn't mean they will be able to replace Nick Chubb overnight. His leadership, experience, and clutch performances are irreplaceable, and fans are understandably feeling a mix of hope and nostalgia. And we should also mention the broader context. The Browns have been on a bit of a roller coaster in recent years, drafting well, developing talent, but also facing setbacks due to injuries and inconsistent performances. The arrival of Deshaun Watson at quarterback has added a new dimension to their offense, and the team is clearly aiming to be more competitive in the AFC. But to do that, they need a strong, healthy running game, and Chubb's absence might be part of a calculated plan to build a more balanced and sustainable attack. For Browns fans, this news is bittersweet. On one hand, you're proud of what Nick Chubb has accomplished and thankful for the memories he's created on the field. On the other, you understand that in the NFL, change is inevitable, and sometimes it's necessary to move forward to achieve the team's long-term goals. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also a sign that the organization is thinking strategically about how to stay competitive in a league that's more demanding than ever. Looking back at his impressive career, Chubb has been a model of consistency and professionalism. His rushing yards, touchdowns, and leadership qualities have set a standard for future generations. And even though this chapter might be closing, his legacy in Cleveland is secure. Fans will always remember his clutch runs, his humility, and his unwavering dedication to the team. It's a reminder of what makes the NFL so special: players who give everything they have, who fight through injuries, and who become part of the community's soul. As we wrap up this story, it's clear that the Browns are entering a new phase. They're investing in youth, building for the future, and trying to find the right pieces to compete at the highest level. Nick Chubb's departure, if it indeed happens, will be one of those defining moments, either as a painful goodbye or as a stepping stone towards something greater. Either way, it's a story that will resonate with every Browns fan watching, every player in that locker room, and everyone who bleeds orange and brown. So, what do you think, Browns fans? Are you sad to see Nick Chubb potentially leave Cleveland? Do you believe the team has what it takes to succeed without him? Or are you confident that the new backs drafted this year can carry the torch? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your opinions. And remember, I'll be back soon with even more updates, analysis, and deep dives into everything Cleveland Browns. Stay tuned, keep the faith, and let's keep supporting this incredible team through thick and thin. Because whether it's victories or tough decisions like this, one thing's for sure, Cleveland Browns football is always a story worth telling.